Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we're going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Johnny reopened Cobra Kai during the events of Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 2? If you haven't seen the previous part, I would recommend you go watch it before continuing this one. So in this timeline, Cobra Kai and Miyato would be at the Seikai Taikai, but they wouldn't see each other as enemies, and Daniel and Johnny would still get along. Johnny would also bring Stingray to the Seikai Taikai, since it was Stingray's idea to retake Cobra Kai, but he wouldn't be there to compete. The Cobra Kai and Miyato students would get along, and they would start to have a friendly rivalry. The senseis would still be at the mixer, and Chosen would still show up drunk. Those events would continue. Eventually, the Captain's War Challenge would begin, and Miyato and Cobra Kai would still be in the same bracket. Miyato would be on defense, and they would still be doing Protect the Egg. Johnny would tell his students to go on offense, while Danny would tell his students to stay on defense. The Cobra Kais and the Miyatos would fight each other, along with the other dojos. Anthony and Nate would go down from Miyato, and Devin and Bert would go down from Cobra Kai. Robbie would want to go after Hawk, since Hawk beat him in the Yell Valley, so Robbie and Hawk would have a rematch, but in this timeline, Robbie would be able to take Hawk down, so Miyato would be out, so only the Cobra Kais and the Iron Dragons would remain. The rest of the Iron Dragons would still walk off. Robbie and Miguel would team up against Axel, and Kenny and Tori would team up against Zara. But much like in the original timeline, the Iron Dragons will still take down Cobra Kai, and Zara would take down Kenny and Tori, so the Iron Dragons would win. Cobra Kai and Miyato would do well in the challenges, and the Seikai Taikai would continue. Daniel would still want to investigate Mr. Miyagi's past, so he would still want to go talk to Master Serrano, and those events would stay the same. The next challenges would begin, but Miyato wouldn't have a sensei, Daniel would still be missing, and Chosen would still be hungover, so Johnny would decide to fill in for Daniel, and he would coach the Miyato students during the next challenge. Miyato would still have to knock the other dojo off the platform, but Miyato wouldn't do so well, and Cobra Kai wouldn't do so well either. The elimination rounds would still begin. Cobra Kai would be in 7th place, and Miyato would be in 12th. In this timeline, Cobra Kai would fight Dojo Berlin. Robbie and Tori would start off, but in this timeline, Robbie and Tori would be focused, and they would fight their opponents. But eventually Tori would be knocked off, so Devin would go on the platform, and Robbie and Devin would continue the fight, but Devin would be knocked off, so Bert would go on the platform, and he would also be knocked down, so Kenny would join Robbie on the platform, and in this timeline, Kenny and Robbie would finish the fight. Those events would continue. Miyato would still face Dublin Thunder, and Johnny would still be coaching the Miyatos, and Hawk and Sam would start off. Sam and Hawk would be fighting their opponents, and they would be using a combination of offense and defense, but much like in the original timeline, Sam would eventually be knocked off, so Chris would join Hawk on the platform. Chris and Hawk would continue the fight, but Chris would eventually be knocked off, so Nate would join Hawk on the platform, but Nate would also be knocked down, so Anthony would go on the platform. Anthony and Hawk would continue the fight, but Anthony would also be knocked down, so Dimitri would join Hawk on the platform. But in this timeline, Dimitri and Hawk would be fighting properly, and they would manage to finish the fight, so Miyato would win. And much like in the original timeline, Carmen would still be rushed to the hospital, and Johnny and Miguel would have to leave. This is when Danny would come back, and he would tell Johnny what happened, and he would tell him about Dennis. He would tell him that Carice was trying to sabotage them even in Barcelona, and Danny would thank Johnny for helping Miyato while he was missing. This is when Johnny would tell Danny about Carmen, and how he and Miguel had to leave. So Johnny would want to ask Chosen to take over as Cobra Kai sensei, and Chosen would agree. Johnny would have no choice but to ask Stingray to take Miguel's spot on the team, so Stingray would take Miguel's place in the Seikai Taikai, and that is where I'm going to end part 2. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Johnny reopened Cobra Kai during the events of Cobra Kai Season 6? Let me know in the comments below. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.